everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Aftermath.
So, rule number 1 of The Aftermath. Talk about it as much as you can and recommend it to your friends, please.
Yeah, and thanks for listening to The Aftermath, guys. Have a good one.
Second rule of The Aftermath. We love you. Please
Wow.
enjoy.
Wow, what a simp, honestly. What a simp.
Fuck you.
Excuse me?
Oh, my God.
Fight Club.
So, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this about Fight Club. We're going to start this one off quick. I know we usually talk about our weeks or whatever, but, dude, this is one movie that, my usual thing for movies is know as little as possible about the movie before going into the movie.
Yes.
That's my usual rule.
I live by that as well.
All the new Star Wars movies I watched without hearing or seeing anything about any of the movies, I somehow managed to avoid all of it, even though I hated those movies. It was totally new. With The Mandalorian, the first season at least, I went into the first season of it knowing literally nothing about anything about the show, and I watched it and I loved it. Everything, almost every movie we watched on the podcast, I've known, even things like Ghostbusters that are big, same thing. This is one movie that I felt like I knew a lot about because people, they talked about it a lot to me, and I wasn't scared of it getting spoiled because I knew I wanted to watch it anyway.
I knew some of like the key scenes. I knew a couple of like the quotes from the movie.
Yeah.
But like the one scene that I have seen probably a handful of times was that first initial scene where they're walking out the tavern, and he's like, "I want you to hit me in the face as hard as you can."
I've
He's
never
like,
seen that. It
"What?"
was so funny.
Yeah. I've seen that a handful of times.
Yeah. Well, so this is one movie that I felt like I'm going. The only negative thing about watching, which I've been wanting to watch this thing since literally the beginning of this podcast. So the only negative thing about watching this movie was, man, I feel like I kind of know a little bit more about this movie than I usually do, because a lot of friends have talked it up and talked about their favorite scenes. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I feel like I know a lot about it. So it's kind of like, oh man, it might not be that great. This is the only movie that somehow has such a different story in the way things go that even though I felt like I knew everything about this movie, I watched it and was like, I knew literally nothing about this movie.
Yeah.
This is entirely different. Easily takes upwards of my top list of movies.
Yeah.
It has achieved legendary status with movies like The Breakfast Club and Cool Hand Luke. It is now up there.
Oh yes.
So far, my best movie of 2021. Dang it! Wow.
I definitely had no idea what this movie was.
Not
I
even a little bit.
knew sort of what it was, but like I didn't know the arching plot of it.
When people described Fight Club to me, they talked about the actual Fight Club, and they talked about how, like, oh man, Fight Club's a bunch of gentlemen who are tired of their white collar jobs who go and have a fight club.
Yeah.
So I thought the movie was based around that. Bruh,
that was the side quest.
That wasn't even the side quest. That was like a mini side quest. That was like that was the beginning, and then it turned into something more. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. This is about a cult and anarchy. Awesome. I love. Can
I throw something out there? You know how I was talking about like Gurren Lagann and other animes like that?
Yeah, just fight the power. Yeah.
No, not only just fight the power, but like
row as well.
Is they consistently build the
it was definitely one of those
non-stop escalation.
Yeah, that's what I was
snowball
effect, freaking momentum,
non-stop escalation, and I feel like this movie was that in strides. Where there's a moment where it's like you have the setup, you have the enticement, you have the
Tyler's spiral power is off the charts.
But dude, it just keeps getting more and more wild, and like I feel like it also is like a point where, as you start falling, you just start falling, and you're like, oh man.
The steel is getting worse all the time, the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, but again, Tyler, his spiral freaking power is off the charts.
He pierced the heavens and kept going.
Yes, he is. The picture of him fighting himself reminded me of the picture of the people fighting God at the end of Gurren Lagann or whatever's going on there, fighting the universe. I forgot. So... Gosh, this was awesome, man. This was great. So who is everyone's favorite character? Well, let's start with that. It's kind of hard because I didn't even know anybody's name, which actually 2 of my notes have to do with not knowing people's names, which is funny. But I didn't really know anybody's name. So, like, actually, I haven't. Okay, who is everybody's favorite character?
I just like my main man.
Yeah, like Luke. Not Luke. Sorry, Tyler. Which Tyler?
No, like just the main man, like the
Mr.
boy.
Durden.
Mr. No. Yeah, like I can't remember what the guy's name is normally. I only know him as Cornelius because that was the first name that
Rupert.
or Rupert.
Oh yeah, that's Tyler. Tyler Durden is his name.
But he has like an original name. I thought.
Is that his original name, or is that just
I guess it's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
He goes by so many names. Okay, well, fine. Yeah, Cornelius Rupert Tyler. Yeah,
Mr.
the main character. Okay, and then all right, Dylan, who's your favorite character?
His name was Robert Paulson.
Bob is my favorite character, hands down. At first, I was like, "What a weird character! They're making this too hard." But also, I loved his story. I loved that he was like a pro power lifter, and now he's, like I love it. He's a great character, and like him dying is such a sad end to such a great character. I love him. Oh
Damn,
man,
dude,
he was such a wholesome character. All right,
big sad.
who can we describe it? Can we describe it in 3 words, guys?
Holy shit!
That was 3 syllables, but you know what? We'll take it. You know what? I like it. Not if we spell whole as ho, like ho, and then Lee as like the name Lee. Perfect. Holy shit. Okay. Now, Dylan, 3 words.
No way.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so that's why. Sorry, can I just interject for a second?
Go right
No one
ahead.
says anything.
His character name on the roster of characters is the narrator.
Oh,
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
they didn't even give his character a name.
Yeah, so you don't actually know his
Tyler's-
like legitimate name
Wow.
until, you know.
Yowza.
That's even cooler that you don't know his real name.
I never realized that.
So, and I made a joke about that. Again, it's in my notes, but I'll go ahead and mention it now. I made a joke about that this movie is so good that I don't have to know anybody's names. For instance, I mentioned I don't even know the main character's name. That's because we didn't give the main character a name.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that at that point, but we never said it. We had the name tags that said Cornelius and Rupert or whatever, but we never actually heard his name. So in my notes, I'm like, I don't even know this guy's name. That's how good this movie is. I don't even got to pay attention. Only person I know is Bob. That's it.
Yeah.
So, but I do have to say, like, man, the intro cinematic for this movie,
Mm-hmm.
it was neat, but frick, it was like annoying and like loud.
Oh, really?
Like, I did not like it. I was like, man,
What do you mean?
just the intro cinematic thing. It was just loud.
The music.
The intro credits.
Zooming out of
Where it's
the
like
side
it's
of a
like
man's
the
body.
it's like the brain waves or like the neurons are firing or whatever.
Yeah,
it
freaking
was-
synapses.
It was just loud and I just didn't like it that much. But then
But then
whatever.
the movie happened.
But then the movie happened, which is the next thing I'm going to say is like that the
Boy,
beginning
did
of
that
this movie.
happen.
Boy, it was definitely a film with actors. Haha. So with the first like act 1 of the movie,
It
So-
really sets up how just
Mhm.
bad his life is.
yeah, it does. But let's
Or boring, I
let's
guess.
take a step back to explain something as well. When we first got the movie and he put it in, it showed like what was it again? Like
Never been kissed. It
never-
was a fake out menu.
never been kissed. It was a fake out menu.
Yeah.
But we didn't expect it, so we were all laughing about how like, man, did he get this movie
we're
from
about
some-
to review Never Been Kissed.
Yeah, and I was like, did we just get some fake out movie called Never Been Kissed? And I was like, I hope you know, Dylan, you no longer have a choice. This movie is in the PlayStation. So if this is Never Been Kissed, we're gonna watch and review Never Been Kissed on the podcast. We
Oh,
have to.
boy.
And it ended up being Fight Club, which is good.
Mhm.
But that being said, the intro to the movie it was so like a man has a white collar job and his life is trash. It was so boring that I was like, this could well be Never Been Kissed. I was like, for like maybe the first 10 minutes, I was sitting there like,
Mhm.
is this Fight Club or is this Never Been Kissed? Like,
This
it
movie
was
will keep you guessing.
Exactly.
throughout the
It
whole
was-
fucking thing.
it was a necessary and mind you, very good intro, but also like it was just boring.
Mhm.
You know, it was just like, man, this, and they're really trying to hit home how like boring his life is and how like
my speculation was the second that Marla came into the picture, the girl, and he
Mhm.
was like messing up all his like meetings he was going to. I was like, she's a figment of his imagination.
yeah. Well, I mean, we're on the right
He is-
track.
I was like, he is conjuring her up, and that is the thing. And I kept that throughout the whole through line of the movie.
Yeah. I heard. Yeah, you said so.
But then there was a couple of points that gave it away. Like, I remember whenever Marla was in the house and
He said they were never in the same room.
Yeah,
together.
and I was like, there's just a few little things that kind
Which
of.
I didn't pick up on that because they did a really good job turfing it off. Like, I feel like it's my parents again, where like
Yeah.
one leaves, and I was like that. I felt that before, where like one person leaves the room and the person that doesn't like them walks in as soon as they leave because they were paying attention. I felt that before. So, to be fair, the movie did a pretty good job on that one.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it was
I
bad.
didn't pick up on that one. Ian did though, but I didn't even.
It was like as the movie slowly progressed, I was like, I think she may be real and Tyler's the fake, but I couldn't quite pin it until like as the movie progressed, and I was like, oh yeah, you started to really tiptoe in that really weird spectrum of like, I thought this was just kind of like I thought this was gonna be like a
Fight Club.
I thought this was gonna be like a Need for Speed, or no, what is it called? A Fast and Furious movie.
Yes.
It's like an action movie. There's a plot to it, but it's really nothing there.
I thought it was okay. So the fight the power elements were way bigger than I thought. But I went into the movie with the expectations that it was gonna be like a fight the power, like everyone's bored with their jobs, so they all get in fist fights, and then they're like, you know what, we're all tougher than we think. We start fighting their bosses, and which to be fair, kind of does happen. But again, that is like a minor subplot of the movie compared to what they end up doing, which is blowing up banks.
That is part one of Act 2.
Yeah, they start doing domestic terrorism to banks across the world to erase their debt.
Yeah,
I thought this was just
becomes combat cult.
100%. It becomes a terrorist cult, which to be fair, again, is badass. But like, what? So, my next note, I had no choice. I had to write it down. Was, and I quote, "You can most certainly die from insomnia. That doctor is trash." The doctor who's like, "It's just insomnia, man. You can't die from it."
You need to lighten up.
Yeah, you can. You
like, okay,
100%
thanks, doc.
can. And then when you can't, you have hallucinations, which ended up being the plot of the movie. But I was like, you totally can, whatever. And then also the doc, he was just monotone. He didn't care. He was like, "Your life's not that bad," to this guy whose life is bad. He was just a bad doctor. So I had to write that one down.
Just to spite him.
Yeah, just in general. At one point in the scene, this is my next note, whenever it's one of the church group scenes when he's talking to the girl for the first time, and then she like gives him a hug, and she's like, she's like fake crying on him or whatever, and then whoever the reverend lady is walks by, and she says like, "You have to just share yourself with everybody."
Yeah.
It's some way that the way she said share, I legitimately thought she said, "You have to just shoot yourself, everybody." I couldn't. I was like,
commit suicide right now.
I didn't
on
know.
the
I was,
spot.
gosh, I loved it so much.
Yeah, I believe the line that she said was,
Share
Just-
yourself.
"Just share yourself,"
Mm-hmm.
or "Share yourself."
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I thought it said shoot 100%. And I was like,
Just-
did you just tell them to shoot
But
themselves?
it's also like in the context of the scene where like they're all hugged up, and
they're talking
she
about people
kinda comes-
dying and at
Well,
the end of life care.
not even that. Like, but the fact that they're just like sitting there hugging, and lady comes out of right frame, like boom, shoot yourself, and you're like,
Here's
what?
a gun.
What?
Exactly.
And you're like, damn.
Right.
Take this 1911.
There's
Yeah.
one bullet for each of you. 45 ACP. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
6 bullets. Enough
so-
to kill anything that
pow.
moves.
So,
Anyway, wait. Before you continue,
yeah.
that was my
Yes.
preconceived idea of the movie before I went into it was that it was going to be like this kind of action movie, kind of
All
like he was
flash,
saying.
no substance.
Yeah, that it was
Oh, no,
that
my
it was
friend.
it was a loved movie because it's one of those like again probably for the same reason that the first Fast and Furious movie.
No,
was
I was going to say it's a
It's-
love movie because of Die Hard. It's
Yeah.
got a story, but it's just straight action.
Yeah.
And it's not, it is definitely that, but also like to a completely
Yes.
different universe kind of
Oh,
extreme. So I was like, that's what I was expecting. It was like action movie kind of Die Hard stuff.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah.
But what I will say is they also did a really good job of like, griminess, like the color and the vibe of like a large percentage of the movie.
Oh yeah,
is
they made
just
that house look so
gross
nasty. They made the blood look
and
good.
disheveled.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They did a really, yeah.
And now, like looking back on it, I'm starting to think, I'm like,
This
the,
is,
the arsonist department was calling him, but
and he was saying
but
that
Tyler was the one who blew up his apartment, which means that he blew up his
he
apartment.
blew up his own apartment.
Yeah.
Yes, he blew up his own apartment whenever he started going crazy.
Mhm.
Which this is my theory, I guess, because it doesn't really, the movie doesn't really say, but
in a fit of rage.
whenever
Yeah.
he was started going crazy and was had too much insomnia, he said that after crying and all those things that he could sleep. Well, he couldn't really sleep. He was blacking out and having hallucinations and doing weird stuff. So he
Yeah.
ended up tweaking out, having hallucinations, blowing up his apartment, starting the fight club, and he started going crazy. Right?
Yikes!
then they were calling him saying, like, do you know anyone who could have blown it up? And he's like, maybe. The maybe was him. He blew his own apartment up.
And do you want to know also something that kind of like touches into this sort of like almost horror, like thriller element for me at least?
Yeah.
Is the fact that like not only was he, as he starts to come to and realize who he is as a person, he starts to realize like he set up this whole like group of people everywhere.
And they're now self-sufficient.
Yeah,
and do about
and everyone knows. And then
he doesn't.
What kind of gave me like a little freaky, like almost like it made me uncomfortable. Was the fact that he's now, for all intents and purposes, coherent.
He's having one of his spells where he's back with it now.
Yeah, but then he's like, the main detective leaves.
Yeah, and then all the cops ran on it. Yeah,
and all the cops are in on it, and he's like, "Wait, what are you guys talking about?" And of course, like, you said you were going to say that,
right?
And it's like,
your balls.
and then,
that was a good scene, but I was kind of hoping that he was gonna say, "Yes, I am Tyler. Let's continue with the plan," and get them to stop and like play it off. But instead, he was like, "I am Tyler, but we're gonna call this off." And he was like, "You definitely said that you'd say that." And I was like, "Oh no,
yeah,
there goes your balls."
But like, it's that moment of like,
he freaks out. You guys are cops.
it's almost like you're isolated.
Yeah.
Like
the
even
realization.
Is the realization
There's
of
no
like
one that can help you.
Yeah, is it like whenever he sat down with Marla at the diner and like the guy walks up and is like, everything's free of charge, and you're like, okay, first of all, why you got to say it so creepy? And and of course
because he's surrounded by friends
because he's a cult member.
I know exactly, but then like he looks into the kitchen and there's 3 goons in the kitchen
all
like
beat up.
Yeah. And it's like at that point, it's like not only are you surrounded, but it also feels like,
which is a theme in this guy's life, is he always feels isolated.
Of course,
he talks about how his dad left him, and then like he is isolated at work, and he has so much stuff that he struggles with, and he literally was going to meetings for medical problems that he didn't have, just so that he could have people that would hug him and hold him, and so that he could cry,
listen to him.
And then he still really couldn't, even though he said he slept, he still couldn't sleep because he was going crazy. So then,
and also since Marla jumps in the picture, ruins it all for him.
And exactly, so he's just like, all these things are happening now. He's going crazy, and he's constantly been isolated, which is helping him go literally insane and picture this other person. This is the perfect him.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
So. I like I said, I really
so much deeper than I was expecting it to be.
Exactly. So in the movie, when you first see Tyler, the Chad Tyler, as I will refer to him hitherto, when you first see Chad
hitherto.
Tyler, he's like,
henceforth.
You know how they get you when they're doing the plane? Wonder why they give you oxygen? And he's like, so you can breathe? And I'm like, I mean, sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of
again, just maybe a little bit like that, kind of. He's like, nah. It's because oxygen makes you all calm. That way you're happy whenever you die. Like, see all these people in the thing before. Yeah, and I was like, and my note says, and I quote, that's not even slightly how oxygen works. Like, not even, that's how
I think
nitrous oxide works, not how oxygen works.
But I think that's actually whenever the cabin loses pressure and you don't have enough oxygen, that's what happens. That's the whole reason why they have oxygen masks, is because if the cabin loses pressure,
you can't get any oxygen.
Is it you? I forgot what it is, but you start to almost not hyperventilate. Well, I guess you probably can, but
it's because you're not getting oxygen. It's like, you're hypoxic, and you start seeing things and feeling.
Yeah, and you start kind of feeling euphoric,
and then you pass out, which is what happens next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what happens is when the cabin loses pressure.
Yeah.
A little fun fact: when the cabin loses pressure, you are now essentially at the altitude that you're at, which means that you're trying to inspire the oxygen without the atmospheric pressure that's helping you get it in.
Of course, yeah.
Which means that in the cabin with no pressure in there, if you were just floating somehow up there, the oxygen percentage is still 21%.
Mm-hmm.
Oxygen is not there. It's not lower higher up you are. So on Mount Everest, same thing. It's not lower. The problem is the air pressure is lower, so your lungs are not receiving the oxygen that's in the air. So essentially, you're not getting anything.
Yeah.
They give you enriched oxygen because if your lungs can't, with the pressure, can't sort it out, they just breathe in pure oxygen through this little bag here, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it is. but oxygen does not make you feel euphoric at all. And so again, that was my next medical note where I was like, not even a little bit how that works, but I'm listening. Right.
So glad we have your insight on these little tidbits they try to shove in.
On every movie, there's like some little medical thing where I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. We'll go with that in this world. Whatever makes you happy.
Dude.
At one point, I don't remember what scene it was. They're asking like, who would you fight, or like, what celebrity would you beat up? And one of the guys is like Martha Stewart. I think it was to the question of like, which celebrity would you fight, or no, which celebrity would you like?
No, I think they were having a banter about like the constructs of the world and like the things that you're supposed to love.
That was it. And someone was something that you mentioned Martha Stewart.
And then
fuck Martha Stewart.
Our good,
that was it. That was the line he said.
Our good boy is like, and Martha Stewart, and he's like, and frick Martha Stewart.
Yeah. So that was why I wrote down heck Martha Stewart. All my homies hate Martha Stewart.
And I think he said something along the lines of like sitting on the throne of something.
Yeah. So the next one though, it's another one of their mini scenes. They're asking questions between each other, which he's talking to himself, but you don't know that yet.
Yeah.
And he's like asking questions, and he's like, "Man, which celebrity, dead or alive, could you fight or whatever?" And he's like, "Gandhi." And I was like, "Damn, that's a good ass answer. If I could fight anyone, I'd fight Gandhi, just because that's just awesome." Like I said, Lincoln, also good answer. My next note is
okay.
You can go. You're good. It's good. I have a lot of notes, like I said, so you can pitch it anytime you're ready.
I also, okay, so like anybody who's ever seen the box art for, even if you know nothing of the plot of Fight Club, everyone knows like the Fight Club logo of like Brad Pitt holding up the bar of soap. This is Fight Club on it.
Yeah.
So I always thought, again, just at face value, I thought that the soap had something to do with like the Fight Club element of like,
or like a drop the soap joke or something is what I was thinking. I was like, it's got to be something.
I always thought that it was like a, we're in a Fight Club, but we have soap here, so you can clean yourself off.
We're also the soap club.
Soap Club. First rule about Soap Club. Tell every friends about Soap Club.
So that's what I was.
Second rule of Soap Club: get them suds. Sorry.
But until like, of course, we meet our guy Tyler.
Turns out the soap is actually nitroglycerin explosive.
Yes, that. But I just love the fact that like it's like his like. It's brought up like twice. It's like his cover-up business, quote unquote. And he's like sitting here and he's like, "Yep, I make soap." And he was like, "This is what it is."
Yeah. I like the scene where I was trying to figure out why they were hopping. Things were happening really fast. They hop a fence, and he's like talking about how soap is used with human fat, and I'm like, I don't know where we're going with this. And he was like, "This is a liposuction clinic," and I was like, "Bro, what?" So they're throwing bags of like just liquid from which, again, this is the one scene that like people probably want me to have some kind of like medical like outlook on, like
understanding.
Would they actually have red biohazard bags there? I'm gonna tell you right now, I have no idea. This is just as feasible as any other scene in the movie. Like, I don't know. They may as well have red biohazard boxes just like in a thing with a fence, like, because nobody wants to be around them. So like, like to me, the fact that there's barbed wire on the fence is what's shocking. Like, I feel like we just kind of have them behind a door. And like nobody wants to touch them,
just in case one of you sick fucks out there is trying to get into all this fat.
Yeah, if you're trying to get into a liposuction clinic, I don't know if they just put a red biohazard bag full of the non-congealed for some reason fat. I don't know, but like if you're trying to get it, gross. I feel like you probably could just as easy as they did, maybe easier.
And you want to know like what a real like what like a real low blow was whenever he was talking about, he's like, we make some of the finest soaps and sell it back to these rich ladies or whatever.
He said, we make these soaps and we sell them back to their fat asses. And I was like, oh, get roasted. Damn. Oh man,
it hits.
We make the soaps out of them and then sell. I was like roasted so bad.
Talk about the circle of life.
So then the next scene that I wrote a note on is whenever he goes to the Quickie Mart or whatever it is, and then he takes the guy out at gunpoint. There's no ammunition in the gun, which I love the fact that there was no ammunition in the gun. That was really good detail. Perfect. So, and he like takes him out, and he's like holding a gun to his head, and I'm like, bruh, he went crazy. Again, we don't know that this is the same, but still, we're like, oh, he went crazy. And then he's like, what did you want to be? And I'm like, what is he doing? He wanted to be a veterinarian. And then he's like, if you're not a veterinarian in 6 weeks, I'm going to kill you. And I just wrote down the note of, damn, what kind of motivational speaker is he? He's like, if you're not following your dreams, I'm going to kill you.
It's the kind that gets things done.
I mean, yeah. Can't really blame him.
I'm keeping your license. I know where you live. If within 6 weeks you're not on your way to becoming a veterinarian, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
But man...
Whew. I mean, I'd do it. Like,
I love that our narrator guy tries to kind of chime in. Like he's like the voice of reason in all of our positions.
Yeah,
he's like, "What the hell was that, dude?" Like,
yeah,
what did that achieve anything? And
so essentially, to explain it a little bit better, we've got the hallucination Tyler that I've referred to as Chad Tyler.
Yeah.
He's the cool guy. He's a hallucination.
Yeah.
We've got real Tyler, who we don't actually know his
Tyler.
name. Oh yeah, Virgin Tyler. Yeah. We've got Rupert, as we'll call him. Rupert is the voice of reason, like you're saying. He's the good angel on the shoulder of essentially what's being narrated, and the narrator
the good
is
side of his like two-sided personality,
the non-hallucinating part of him. Yeah. And so in this scene, he says like, man, Tyler had it. He was crazy in his own kind of way, but he had it all figured out. Like, that's what he's saying. And like, basically the narrator's like calling him crazy, but he's also, whenever Chad Tyler says, he says, but like his breakfast tomorrow's gonna be the best he ever had, and like his life, he's gonna wake up tomorrow and feel better than ever. Like, he's not lying, but also
He's
like you gave that guy PTSD.
I believe what he said, like at the top of it, was he's gonna wake up tomorrow with a newfound sense of purpose.
Yeah,
and his breakfast is gonna taste better than it ever has.
Yeah, and I was like, you're not lying, but also you gave him PTSD, 100%. Like,
possibly some trauma mixed in there, but
yeah,
he's got some motivation.
But who needs it? You know, whatever, it's fine. So the next scene is quite a while after this one, where he's trying to convince people to, like, he's recruiting them or whatever, and they have to stand. I love the line where he's like, they have to stand outside. He's like, if they stand outside with no food, no shelter, and no encouragement. And I was like, what is he's crazy?
For 3 days.
For 3 days. So then when he finally gets the first guy back after 3 days, and he gets him in there, and the guy's just shaving his head, and he walks in there. He's like, look at you, freshly shaved, like a monkey, ready to go on a rocket out of the atmosphere. And he slaps him on the back of the head.
Space monkey.
He's here, blam, space monkey. So I wrote down blam, space monkey.
I love how he fits so many people in this tiny, this rickety old house.
Oh yeah,
things are breaking.
A base of operations.
Yeah. So, and then the next one is when I realized that he was fake. Again, a long time after the first one. The first one, sorry, the previous one. The previous one was Space Monkey. Then like at least 45 minutes of movie go, and then the next one is that's why I didn't know the main character's name because the main character is Tyler. Like, Tyler also is the hallucination of the main character. We're not supposed to. He's even listed in the credits as narrator. Like, he doesn't have a name. And so I thought this whole time, I was like, man, this movie's so good. I'm just paying attention to everything else. I know the main character's name. When in actuality, the main character's never given a name. The only person's whose name I knew was Bob.
His name was Robert Paulson.
Yeah, his name was Robert Paulson. And then my final note is, sadly, I hate to say it, another medical note, which is, there's absolutely no way he would be alive after that shot. Like, there's just no way.
So I'm assuming. So in the moment, I was confused because I thought he shot it straight through the back of his.
Which he did. That's the way it was aimed. And then whenever you see the Chad Tyler has the hole directly in the back of his head.
Mm-hmm.
So Chad Tyler died to a gunshot directly in the back of his head, but somehow real Tyler, Rupert, has a hole in like the side of his jaw, which by the way, if the gun from where he's got it in his mouth to where the hole is, you'd probably still die. You're probably going to sever like your carotid artery or something, and then boom, you're just going to bleed out.
That's also a lot of that's a big shock. He had like right in his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The way it was aimed is going to go straight through your brainstem and kill you immediately. Mm-hmm. The way it was aimed, right? Yeah. But the thing is, the way the bullet supposedly traveled for him and how he lived as long as he did, it probably still would have killed you by messing up your brain and probably severing some kind of artery and doing something. Yeah. The pressure changes probably would have done some problem and given you a stroke. Like, so many things would have happened and he'd probably still be dead. So I was just sitting there like, yeah. I mean, okay, it's a little bit weird, but like, whatever.
This week's episode of How to French a Gun Barrel.
Like, I was like, I don't even know. I don't even get it, but
When was the first time you saw this movie, Dylan?
Oh
1983.
no, it's 1984.
Ah, 1984.
Pretty sure it came out in 97, so.
Yeah.
By the way, talking about 97 and all that good stuff, what a good year.
good old 97.
1997, what a good year. No, talking about that, this movie, for it being as old as it was, I didn't even acknowledge that it was old at all. I didn't even for a second think like this is kind of an old movie, except for like when he's on the phone playing with the freaking rotary thing.
Yeah.
Like things like that. But like the actual quality of the filming, and like we've already mentioned, how everything looked so well done, and like when it was supposed to look grimy, it did. And like the blood and all the scenes, I think it's also really nice. It was just well done.
And I think it also helped out showing you, again, you can always tell a movie by its technology. Like in the film.
Yeah.
It's like we watched, again, pour one out for the homies, gone out there. We watched, oh, come on.
What are we pouring one out for the homies for?
Dead Poet Society.
Oh, yeah. No, okay. Rest in peace, that episode, because, there's no.
It was that one. I think also we actually did one episode on the Thanksgiving movie. Was it Scent of a Woman?
Yeah.
They had a couple of things, like you could tell this was like late 80s, late 80s, early 90s because of the technology that was in it. And this movie, you could tell, well, again, by some of the technology, you could tell what time frame it was, but it was also like they tried to make it a point that he was like in poverty, basically. So it was like he didn't have anything.
But still, like just the use of a rotary phone, even in poverty now, that's not a thing that you'll see anymore. And so it's like you could tell that it was
Marla's house phone had like glowing digits on it, and I had a phone just like that once upon a time.
And so it's like you can see the time frame that this was like created in, kind of just from that. But also, like still, him being in poverty, like the griminess of the house was so well done.
Oof.
But also the blood was so well done.
Yeah, that's
like
pretty filth.
But the thing that what they did with the blood, what a lot of movies kind of try to, and with a lot of scenes, the blood is a lot darker initially than I would expect. Like whenever someone's initially bleeding, it's kind of bright, but it gets dark pretty fast. So like for all the scenes where they like get punched in the face and like blood like slings on the floor, for all of them, it looks so well done. It's real. Yeah. It's like the blood slings just like you'd expect it to if this was happening. Like I've punched someone in the face before. Just like whenever I punched that guy in the face last week, it was just, but like, and then he gets up and he's got blood on his face. By the time you feel like he's getting ready to clean his face off, the blood looks like it would really be that color. And so it's like all the design, like it was just well done. It was really good. So it didn't really, more so than I would have expected from its time,
Though I also, the more I think about this movie, the more I'm like, this warrants a second
rewatch.
Because you can watch. I'm thinking back on it now, like that car scene, whenever he's like, "Let go," like just like. And of course, I'm like, he was. Ow. Tyler was driving, but Tyler's not real. So it's like
Tyler's in the passenger seat driving? ? Like I don't even know.
So it means that our narrator was possibly talking to himself with his goons in the back that kept trying to interfere, saying,
and every time he would ask a question to himself, they would all be like. Here's the way I picture it right now. He would ask a question out loud to himself because he's going crazy.
Yes.
And all of them in the back would be like, is he asking the question to us? So then they would say, is this a test? This is a test, isn't it? They're like, the first rule of Operation Mayhem was don't talk about it. And he's like, shut up, I'm not talking to you. And they're like, wait, are you? He's so crazy. They would just stop.
This is a test. I knew it.
Yeah. So
what were you saying before, Dylan? I thought you were saying something.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm just here as window dressing.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, no, forget the window dressing, nerd. Let's talk about this. How did you feel about this movie? You've seen it before.
Oh man, I love it.
Really?
It's up there for sure.
It's a good one.
I have to link this to because I've had quite a few people who have told me to watch this, so I have to link this podcast to like all my homies.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they want to listen to it or if they wanted my opinion on it or not. But it's like I did tell them that I would watch it. So,
I have said this line before, and every time I have said it, I mean it. But especially, hear me when I say it this time. Yeah. I did not know what I was getting myself into. I knew it was probably going to be a wild ride, and I buckled myself in, and I enjoyed every minute of it, dude.
Like a responsible adult, I put my seatbelt on, and I kept it on.
And it was one hell of a wild ride, my guy. I don't know where I am.
I now get like
Yeah.
like most people most people will say like, man, spoilers are bad. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you, right? And they're always lying. But like they're always lying nerds. But like whenever I ask people questions about this movie, and they were all like, every one of them was like, it's about a guy who has a job and he hates it, and he ends up getting in a fight to get his stress out from his job. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, like, what's some more about like the plot or like what happens? And every single person that I asked, it's like 3 or 4 people that were all like, I just too much happens. I'm not gonna spoil the movie for you.
Yeah.
And now, guys, I get it.
I understand.
I get it. I'm so happy that this is a movie that is wide. Like the first rule about this movie is you don't talk about this movie too much.
Yeah.
Right. Like I now get it. If someone's never seen the movie, I'm gonna do the same thing. Like no. It's about a guy who starts a fight club. You should see it.
Yeah.
And then
It's
just
about a guy who punches guys.
Yeah, and it trips him up so bad.
Yeah.
But we should also start a fight club.
It's it's subvertive.
Yeah. Oh, it really.
It's
hits
one of
you.
those things where it's like there's this looming monster in the background, but it's like, but yeah, check this out over here, guys.
Yeah.
Look at this. Man, I thought it was a really, really good movie, and I enjoyed
Big
it.
dirt in
It
the
is-
background, whereas
Yeah.
the normal Virgin Tyler.
Virgin
Yes.
Tyler
Like,
and Rupert.
Oh, don't mind him. He's not big deal.
He's not real. So yeah, currently my top movie of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For our end of this year, we had to do our Aftermath Awards. So far, my award nomination for Aftermath Awards Best Movie of the Year goes to Fight Club.
Oh,
Dang.
man.
So far,
I didn't know we were having awards now.
Well, we did. I think last podcast, the one before, we talked about how for instead of doing a like year-end review like we did last year, we should do a award show where we talk about our favorite movies. We have to have a couple of different
That's a
Categories.
best bad movie, best overall movie. Have to be 2 of them, right?
I want to pose the question.
Velocipath. Sorry.
Yes, I
God, it's gonna be
just
so bad.
I just recently threw out the idea to you guys. I was like, can we watch a really bad like Disney Channel original movie, like an old one from like the 90s?
Oh my god, that's a fucking gold mine.
While we were in the middle of me looking up and seeing the fact that 17 again was on,
Yeah.
but like I have to think of one Disney Channel original movie that was like just so bad, but like also one that I probably haven't really seen before. Because then it'd be
we have Disney Plus, and they are all on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, they've got
I have
every single fucking one
on my watch list that I have. I have a handful of like Luck of the Irish. They're like weird Xenon movies. And like there's
those I've watched
Horse
enough.
Sense.
Wait,
God,
what?
fucking Horse
Yes.
Sense.
Just
wait,
all
wait,
those,
wait,
like-
wait. What is this?
You don't
It's
know
a
what
Disney
Horse
Channel
Sense?
original movie.
Horse Sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's about a city boy who needs to learn the lay of the land, like needs to learn how to get his hands dirty, how to work a job, and he goes with his aunt and his cousin on this ranch, and the cousin boy's really young and but knows the land, but doesn't know how to. I forgot the actual. You want to look up the plot of it?
Give us a
Please,
synopsis.
no. Yeah. Go to Wikipedia and
Okay.
then read me the Wikipedia's initial plot summarization of it. Now, again, I don't want spoilers, so just the plot summarization of what's going on from Wikipedia. But also, man, that sounds like a steaming pile of crap. Like
A heartwarming.
that one.
Ready?
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. So
This
far,
came out-
that one's on my list for tomorrow, for next episode.
Oh, goodness.
This one came out in 1999, and it says,
Okay.
"Oh wow, this is already." You ready?
Oh, yeehaw!
Heartwarming drama about 2 cousins who have personal
Oh God, they're
differences.
cousins.
Their personal differences, but pull together to save the family home. When a spoilt youngster, spoilt,
Oh my god.
spoilt youngster is sent to stay at his cousin's Montana ranch. The 2
always
boys
Montana.
initially fight, but unite when they learn that the ranch is in danger of being lost.
Oh.
Okay, I have my cool. I'm back. That sounds like awful bad, and we have to watch it.
It's
for next
funny.
for next episode. But also we should watch that one about the mermaid or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I remember
I
that one where it's
remember
like
too.
there's like a mermaid. No, it's the boy who turns into a mermaid
Yes.
or whatever.
No,
Yes.
I fucking hate that movie so much.
No, wait, that's perfect. That means still we have to watch it because
No.
Dylan hates it. Dylan, I want you to tell me. I want you to take notes and all the things that you hate about that movie. Okay,
gonna
and it can be a long episode if we have to make it a long episode. But we need
If
to-
we have to.
If we have to, well, I don't know how much time we have on these things. So if we have to, we'll make it.
I'm gonna bash on this movie so fucking much.
I
I
forgot.
hate it.
It's so bad that I remember it, but I don't know the name of it. Still,
I'm looking it up right now. Sorry.
boy, it was a boy who turns into a merman, and it was just
There's
such
also
a weird movie.
there's also like Atlantis, the Lost Empire,
That's
and
fucking
Treasure
required.
Planet.
Treasure Planet's good as hell.
Treasure
Oh my
Planet's-
god! What
Yeah,
the fuck
long-
was it with those early 2000s? Like,
You know what it
Disney
is?
movies
They
that-
didn't get lazy with CGI. That was all real animation.
it
What
was
about
good.
what about Holes?
Holes. Honestly, Holes.
Yes.
We meme the hell out of it. Holes, not that bad of a movie.
The Old Testament of Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, exactly. Like Holes.
And even Stevens.
Yeah, Holes is good. I really actually enjoyed that movie. We trash on it with memes, but like it's pretty
good.
solid.
I remember I showed you Pixel Perfect.
So, Jesus
The-
Christ!
the
I
one with
forgot
the-
about
Can I-
Pixel
let me see.
Perfect.
Let me see Pixel Perfect. 'Cause I've
Pixel
heard the
Perfect
name.
was the one with the girl who was a hologram, and our boy from Field of the Future.
Yeah, I think I do
Fucking
know.
Hatsune Miku
Created her.
before that shit existed.
Yes, exactly. Oh man,
This
true.
predates.
Oh gosh, yikes!
Oh god.
Jackie Chan in Around the World in 80 Days.
Yeah, that was
Such
a
a
good
good movie
man.
too. That was a good one.
We need to get more Jackie Chan movies on the list.
I need to figure out what the mermaid one was called.
one. Man, I remember it vividly.
I
Yeah,
hate it.
it
It
was-
was so. I just fucking
But they named the other one Horse Sense. Like, it doesn't get much worse than this.
no. The fish movie is easily worse. I hate
But
it.
I don't remember the name.
Johnny
of it.
Tsunami.
Gee.
Was that it?
No,
I forgot about him.
definitely not.
What was Johnny Tsunami then?
It was a different one. Brink. It was another good one.
Brink.
But come on, Horse Sense.
No, see that one's bad enough already. I just can't. I don't know. I've never even seen Horse Sense, but I can't fucking stand the goddamn Merman movie.
I know, but like, dude, come on, that's so bad.
That's gonna hurt me.
Like, man,
that might kill me.
Could they have? Yeah, right. I could have I might stroke out after this. My blood pressure's so high.
Excuse me?
My blood pressure's so high thinking of how trash these.
Well,
Is there some person listening to this who freaking loves Horse Sense and they now are my least favorite? They're like,
Probably some
I'm now their least
fucking
favorite. They
horse
hate me
girl.
now. There's some horse girl out there like, why does he hate it so much? Listen, horses are cool. That movie sounds awful.
There are aspects of horses that I think are cool, but
the 13th year.
Was that it?
That's what it is.
And it's the guy turns into a merman. It is. That's him. Look at him. He looks like such a nerd.
oh god,
We just
Look
made
at
Dylan
that.
vomit with
I
that movie.
hate it.
Oh my gosh.
Look at him. He's got scales.
Dude, that movie.
Ugh.
Turns into a fish man.
And then he does a classic, let me get with the girl thing, but he's turning into a
No.
merman. Oh, man.
No, never.
Gotta love
Oh,
it.
yes.
Anyways, what
You
I
know
was
what
gonna
else
say
we
was
could do? We could watch something like else that I always thought was really bad, like Camp Rock.
Camp
Camp Rock. That's not awful. It's bad. It's very, very bad. But the
Yeah.
music, it's not that bad.
Or like, let's think of another one that like I do remember that like I watched that was Mallory mentioned the Wizards of Waverly Place movie.
Yeah.
They had a movie.
That a
Mhm.
movie, yeah.
Oh no.
I watched Mallory showed me a TikTok recently.
Oh gosh.
Oh
And
goodness.
for those of you who don't know, Mallory's my girlfriend, and so we were sitting there, and she likes to watch TikToks, and so I was
Partaking.
just laying in bed watching TikToks with her.
Absorbing,
Yeah, it just
becoming infected.
Just
Yes.
just vibing.
I'm just secondhand talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, secondhand
Oh
talk.
my
Yeah.
god.
And so they scrolled through, and this guy was like, he had a hot take, and he's like, "How come every Disney Channel show that has a Disney Channel movie that is associated with it has the same plot line?" And he basically goes on to say, like, so you have like all these Disney Channel shows that are about one thing. The movies are always the family or the group of people go on a vacation, and then something happens on the vacation that is unlike anything that happens in the show.
Oh
Like,
shit.
It breaks the boundaries of the show. Like,
I mean,
And then, of
God.
course, if like they always like have this like really
because that's
crazy.
the only with how much they cover in those shows.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they can make it abnormal for a movie.
Yeah, and of course
But I agree with what he's saying 100%.
yeah,
Yeah,
he said like
that's-
there's like a Sweet Life one, or he's like,
Mhm.
and then he said the Even Stevens one
Yeah.
where they go on a vacation.
Yeah.
He says there's like a Proud Family one.
there was
or,
there was a Good Luck Charlie one. I remember that one. The Christmas ones. They went away for Christmas, and I remember that one.
It's always the same
Vacation
thing.
It's
episode.
always some kind of vacation, yeah, and at least part of the family. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I like it,
Something
but also
happens
like
to it that
that's
doesn't-
all they have going for them. They
Yeah.
got to figure something out.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, all right?
Right, exactly. Unless you're Apple. If it ain't broke, just change how it looks and sell it again. So
just plan for it to be obsolete.
Yes,
Well,
quite indeed.
Anyways,
Man,
I seem to have gotten you guys on board with the Disney Channel Nerd movie thing. So in
it's
the
a
next few
fucking
weeks,
tangent, to be sure.
horse sense.
so you guys may see some real dumb episodes coming up, but I'm okay with that. I think it's gonna be a lot of
If
fun.
I sense a horse, I'm
Bro.
running.
Bro, the 13th year is also on the list, though.
Okay, we'll put
Because
that
did
on
you
the
hear
list.
that? Guys, did you hear that? Did you hear the noise that Dylan made? There is not one person on this world who does not want to subject Dylan to that pain because it'll be funny.
Anyways, I thank you guys.
Sorry, Dylan.
Thank you guys for enduring with our pain.
I'll get you back.
I think that was
Got him.
that was Dylan shutting down. I have to
The world
reboot him
will
now.
know my pain when I'm through.
I told Dylan the 13th year, and he said,
Yeah.
"Oh man, Dylan.exe has stopped responding."
Just get a soundbite real quick of.
I gotta reboot my Dylan now.
Yeah, right.
Ugh.
Windows X UU, just turn it off.
Hold the power
Just-
button for 15 seconds and then plug the power cord back in.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in.
I'm gonna go change Dylan's
for,
batteries.
for just another week. It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate you guys listening. If you're looking to find us, we have a linktree/Ian Wolf. You can look at all of our social media links, as well as where you can find us, like on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Again, you can just Google us, The Aftermath, or The Aftermath Podcast, and you can find us. We also have a YouTube channel. I'm planning on putting some stuff up there pretty soon. Still trying to get the logistics worked out, but until next time.
It's called a horse sense.
13th year is going to be the last year.
So bad.
Bye-bye.